Hey guys. Hey, it's Faith. Time of recording this, it is New Year's Eve morning. I'm drinking coffee. I am thinking about just the year and the business and life and all the things I think we think about at the end of the year. But I wanted to come tell you guys a story about my business because my business was my New Year's resolution. And I just hope if you feel like you're stuck in life or you're at a low point in life, I hope this is encouraging in some way or in some way useful to you. So, I started my business at a very low, I would say probably the lowest, one of the lowest points of my life. So, when I started my business, I was working a job at UF, the University of Florida, at the College of Medicine, and it was a job I just really didn't like. I had been working as a wilderness counselor and as a social worker all before that, and that was obviously always a passion of mine. I always wanted to help people. I always wanted to be useful. That's kind of, I don't know, what I've always wanted to do. And so I was working as a wilderness counselor, literally taking kids on 28-day wilderness camping trips. That was my job. And one of my best friends that I grew up with was murdered. And that was obviously really hard and devastating and awful. Um, and when that happened, I wasn't able emotionally to do my job anymore because my job was very physically demanding, but very emotionally demanding, being gone for 28 days at a time. We didn't have cell phone, like you can't talk to anybody when you're out there. You're literally just in the woods with the kids. And I was just so distraught about everything that had happened to my friend and everything that was kind of unfolding and going on that I wasn't able to do that job. And so here I am, almost 30 years old, not able to do my job anymore. And it was a job I really loved. And my whole lifestyle before that had been traveling and working wilderness jobs, working travel jobs, working social work jobs. And I just did not feel emotionally, physically, spiritually able to do that work, okay? So, I just felt like I can't be useful to anybody right now because 'cause I'm so fragile. I felt like I had been, like, shattered. That's the only way I can explain it, and if you've been through something like that, I think most of us have had some type of experience like that in our life, right? Where you just feel I felt broken. I felt totally shattered, and unable to do the things that I was doing. And so at 28 years old, I was unable to do my job and I moved in with my parents. And I thought I would find a job pretty quickly. I have a master's degree in public administration. I have undergrad in psychology and sociology. I have a lot of work experience. I worked at Habitat for Humanity. I worked in domestic violence. I worked at Outward Bound. I thought I would be able to find a job pretty quickly, and my plan was to find a job and be near my friends and family. I was like, "I'm this broken shell. I need to go to my people." I think that's good advice too. If you're having a hard time, reach out to your people, wherever that is, be near them, however you can do it, whether it's on Zoom or in person, but I was like, "I need to be home with my family and friends." And so I was unable to find a job at that time. I just could not find a job. Months are going by, months are going by, months are going by. And finally, I got a job at UF, which was really exciting to me because like several of my very close friends that had been friends with our friend, also friends with our friend that passed away, like mutual friends of ours, lived there. And so it felt like I had this support system that kind of understood this like tragedy that was kind of taking place and processing what we were processing. And so I moved to Gainesville to work at UF, and I had never had like an office job where it's like 9 to 5, like clock in, clock out, like a lot of social work and stuff. Even when I worked at Habitat, I had technically an admin job, but I was out on construction sites half the time. Obviously, when I worked at Outward Bound, I was in the woods. So I went from like being in the woods for 28 days at a time to being in an office building, like in a hospital type setting, office building, admin, 9 to 5 job. And within the first couple weeks, I was like, this is like not for me. Like, I just didn't like it. But there was just this combination of feeling so fragile and broken and the depression of just being in a job I didn't like that kinda crippled me, and probably maybe some of you guys could understand this too, like, the next thing that I know, it's like 3 years has passed. I've been in this job, and I just felt, like, totally lost. I felt totally purposeless. I didn't know what I was doing. Had no direction. For the first time in my life, I had no, like, goals. I had nothing on the horizon, and I just felt like kind of a loser. I was about to be 30 years old. I really had like nothing to show for myself, even though I had worked very hard. And I just felt lost. And so, one of the cool things about working at a university is you get a lot of PTO. And so, for holiday one year, me and my boyfriend at the time and my 2 best friends all went to Europe because the school just closes for, like, 3 weeks. So we had 3 weeks off. I think I even took some extra vacation added on to that, and we had, like, 3.5 weeks to go to Europe together, which is, like, incredible. What a cool opportunity, right? So I go with my boyfriend at the time over Christmas break. We go travel around Europe. We go to all the Christmas markets, amazing, right? Super cool. But me and my boyfriend on that trip had just a falling out, and I just realized at that time that relationship was over. And I don't know if you guys can understand that, but to me, in the relationships I've been in, there's always kind of been a moment where I'm like, "Oh, this is not for me anymore. This is like we're kind of done." And so I had one of those moments on that trip, and I just remember laying in the Airbnb. We were traveling around, we didn't have a lot of money or anything. So we were staying in these little tiny Airbnbs. I was sleeping on the floor of this Airbnb, like literally just on the ground. And I was scrolling my phone because I couldn't sleep. And I found all of this information about people that were doing blogs. So I had been on Pinterest. This is like back when Pinterest was really popular, and I was just scrolling on there. I would just go on there and like look at pretty things and cool things. I was feeling like pretty low. My relationship is ended. My job is like kind of a dead end. I have nothing kind of going on for me. No focus, no goals, no, just totally lost still. And coming to the realization that my partnership I was in was ending, and I was scrolling Pinterest and I saw people talking about that they were making money online and that they had these blogs and they were um, doing all this stuff. And for the first time in a really, really long time, I felt excited about something. And it felt like somebody threw a lifeline to me. That's the only way I could know to describe it. I just felt like, thank God, like I just have some, it was like a little light of hope, right? Of like, maybe this could be something. And I wrote in my notes app on that trip all the blog posts I wanted to write, and I wanted to write about my mental health journey and mental health because I struggle with PTSD and depression and anxiety and all this stuff. And I have a social work background. So I was like, what if I could do this social work stuff like on this blog and help people and make money and work for myself? And it just seemed like a dream, right? And my New Year's resolution in 2017 was to become self-employed and be a full-time blogger. And I took that mental health blog and scaled it up. I was able to leave my job in October of that year. So I launched it January 1. I was able to leave in October. And then the second year after that, I actually matched what I made at the University of Florida. The second year I had my mental health blog. And so I just wanted to tell you guys that story because it's New Year's Eve, and I feel like there's something magical about this time. And I hope you just take this time tonight to think about something that excites you. Like what is that light for you? Like what, and it maybe it's the business, maybe it's something else, but what is that thing that like gets you excited? What is the thing that's really going to move your life forward? What is kind of calling out to you? And I would just spend some time like thinking about that, right? I still do that every year. I think about that, like, where is the light, right? Like, in that time, like, I all I could see was, like, darkness, and I felt like there was this little glimmer of light over there. And so I just spend time thinking on New Year's Eve, what is next? What is calling for me? What is in my heart? What is my kind of soul telling me? Where do I go next? And, it's interesting to me because I talk a lot, you guys know that. Most of you guys know that. I talk a lot and I have a lot going on. I'm always, like, listening to things, there's always noise going on, but when I get quiet and I make that time and I set the intention of, like, I wanna figure out the next step, and I become willing to see, I'm willing to be guided, I'm willing to find clarity, and I get in that kinda energy and I get quiet, it is amazing the stuff that comes through, like, how clear the path can become. Not all the time, but most of the time when I get quiet and I really ask myself, like, what's next for me? Like, what is this next year about? What is this season that we're going into? Most of the time in my heart, I know, like, and I have a lot of clarity, right? And I find this a lot when I coach in the mastermind too. People will come on and tell me, like, they have no idea what to do and they don't know what they want to do and they don't know what they want their business to be. But when I talk to them, they're like, well, I want to do this. And I'm like, well, you do know. So, something to think about is like, if you did know, what would your heart be telling you? And I just think New Year's Eve is a magical time. To me, it feels like possibility. It feels like fresh start. It feels like new. To me, it's like a sacred, magical time. And if you're having a hard time and you need that energy of like possibility and hope, I hope that this inspires you to create that for yourself, right? I think something that's really interesting is we create our own experience to a large extent because our brains are so highly developed, like, as human beings, right? And we're cognitively aware of our thoughts and all these things. And so you can create an experience tonight on New Year's Eve or whenever you're watching this. It doesn't have to be New Year's Eve, right? The reason New Year's Eve feels special and sacred to me is because I think thoughts that it's special and I think thoughts about how it's sacred and I feel feelings of hope and I feel feelings of possibility and I take time to feel inspired. But it's not New Year's Eve doing anything. New Year's Eve is neutral. I'm creating all of that with my thoughts, right? And so I hope this inspires you if you need that, that you can create that, and that I do believe like life is hard. I'll be the first person to tell you like life is brutal and unfair and hard. And if you're going through a season like that, I'm so sorry. Like there's so many things happening to people that you don't deserve, right? That is not your fault and you don't deserve, and that's hard, right? And I think life is brutal and unfair and sad and tragic, and I think that it's amazing the resiliency we have, and I think it's amazing there's something really magical that happens when you're able to dig down and find hope in those moments, when you're able to keep going, like, in spite of it. Like, there's times I'm sure in your life, in all of our lives, where it just felt like we couldn't keep going, and then we do. And I just think, a lot of times we're stronger than we think we are, and a lot of times the miracle's right around the corner. This is a thought that has gotten me through a lot. It's like the miracle's right around the corner, right? Sometimes the corner is further away than I think. But every day I'm just like, the miracle's right around the corner. We just have to get through this next step, this next day, this next thing, whatever it is, and just keep putting one foot in front of the other. So I hope this inspires you to have a magical little New Year's Eve for yourself, have a fresh start, create some magic, right? I just love thinking about the possibilities of life. I love thinking about one of the things I'll do to kind of create a magical experience is I'll think about all of the amazing things that have happened that I never could have seen coming. Like meeting Matt, my partner Matt that I met. When I met him, I had no idea I was gonna meet anybody. I wasn't even, really looking to meet anybody. I was just so over dating, and then here he is. He just shows up, and he's like a dream, like really a dream come true in so many ways. And there's so many things like that in my life when I look back on it, where it's like I would have never known that that was gonna happen, that I was gonna spend, the whole next year, next few years, next rest hopefully rest of my life with Matt. I wouldn't have known that, and I wouldn't have known that was about to happen, right? And so I love thinking about that. It, like, inspires me, it excites me, and it inspires me to keep taking these big actions and keep putting myself out there and putting myself in uncomfortable situations, which we all have to do as entrepreneurs. I'm gonna be talking more about this stuff at Plan Like a Boss Thursday. If you're watching this in real time, Thursday night, we're talking about miracle mindset and creating miracles in your life, and I hope you'll come. And I also have right now my Goal Getter Live. is available for 9.97. It's usually 49.97, but Goal Getter Live is my kind of goal setting I don't know, masterclass that I taught, and I really love it. It's usually 49.97 at faithmariahshop.com, but right now you can get it for 9.97 with the Plan Like a Boss VIP ticket. So for 9.97, you get the Goal Getter masterclass, you get my 3-part business mindset series called Bosses Make Bank, and you get the replay from Plan Like a Boss. So I think that's a really good deal. I just wanted to put together something kind of special and fun. And you can buy that right now and you can watch the workshop tonight if you're looking for something to watch. I love like doing a workbook or a course or something on New Year's Eve and like setting intentions. I don't know if you guys do that. I know this is like a nerdy thing to do. I think most people like go drink or something. But I'm like always watching something or doing a workbook or journaling and just like being in the energy of hope and possibilities. So, I just would have never imagined starting that business would take me here, that I would be doing this, that I would be connected with so many people, that I would get to have all these experiences I have had. And it has been one of the best things I ever did. And just, it's been hard, certainly at times, but overall, it's just been a huge blessing in my life and an overall win. And I hope that your business is that for you. And that's it. I hope you guys have a great New Year's Eve. Just remember the miracle could be right around the corner. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.